I was almost breaking the surface, and the second wave broke on top of me with a very, very strong impact and blew off my life jacket, and that's when I went really deep. I was going into a hypoxic stage, and I didn't think I was going to come up from that one.
Imagining your cell memories, your DNA telling, what are you doing? What are you doing here? How can you almost die somewhere and go back to that place?
I came here with no expectations. I don't have the resources to have a full team. So I was thinking when I came here, it's like, oh, nobody's gonna wanna be with me because I was the guy who lost the ski on the big day. But it was completely opposite. Just by being with Garrett, I realized how he wants to make a difference for people like me. So he knows that I don't have the resources. I want the wave, but I don't have a way to have it.
Nothing that it's important in your life or makes a difference comes easy. When I started to understand that the obstacles were my opportunities, that question disappeared.
I went towing with Garrett, like the second day I arrived. He's like, invite me to be part of his crew.
Coming from Garrett, of course, you gotta listen to it. It's like, we all admire him and we all give him a lot of credit, not only for Nazaré, but everything that he has done for the sport.
There's people that have no media attention or no support, and they have a chance to be successful as well, which is great.
To be a red charger, it's a lot of responsibility. You gotta really charge big waves.
And I can only imagine in another 2 or 3 years how much more this place is gonna be changing. And for me, I'm just very grateful to have been here kind of, in the begin part of it too, and being around this community that, giving people the opportunity to come here and surf this place, I think it's pretty special.
So honored to be part of this community that is so focused on making a difference on the path of big wave surfing.
This season at Nazaré, I hope I can ride the biggest wave of my life and the biggest wave ever, ever.
I hope to find a comfort zone. I mean, I know it's never too comfortable when it's big, but just to feel a little bit more in control.
I hope to surf really big waves. I hope to be safe, and I hope that Maya can be safe, my team, and everybody else,
I was expected to do something totally different from what I'm doing currently. I realized that I don't want to follow a path that was designed for me. I'm just a person that looks for freedom, be it in a sport, be it in my life, be it in whatever I'm doing. I love surfing big waves because it's something that I start doing for myself. I've always been drawn to it, and coming from Chile, I would go to the beach and surf whatever size waves there were. So every time I would go to the coast to surf, it would be like whatever it's out there. And Chile is known for having big waves all the time. And I always like the bigger waves better. And right now I'm like, whatever, the biggest ever, I would love to surf it.
Wasn't like one day I started to surf big wave. But when I really got involved with the scene and fell in love was my first season in Hawaii, 1986, 1987. That's when I really said to myself, I want to be a big wave surfer. I want to surf this kind of waves for the rest of my life.
You know, it's exciting to be where things are happening in the ocean. I think that's what we love. I started being interested in big waves, I think, when I went to Hawaii when I was 17. Then I started getting bored from friends to go out at sunset and small Waimea and pipe. And that's when I started becoming very interested in the niche, which is big wave surfing. I worked, you know, different jobs, waitress for a few years, dishwasher and 7-Eleven. On the side, I was trying to develop my surfing career, and when that picked up, I was able to put those jobs on the side.
Good to be out, surfing with the friends. Small but fun. Little training for the bigger days.
Why Nazaré? Because I think Nazaré has the potential for the biggest waves in the world.
It's something very different from everywhere else I've surfed.
A very challenging place, it always changes, it has so many layers to it. You know, it demands a lot of dedication and time.
There is something about that bridge break that it's so hardcore that it's magnetic, you know, something that connects you with the place and doesn't let you go.
For big wave surfing, I honestly think it's the best place to be right now.
You have to have really good jet ski skills. Even if you're just gonna paddle, you gotta be really good at getting up on that sled if things go wrong.
When big swells hit, the ocean's really alive and it has a lot to teach us. Nobody here just met here and comes here and then surfs the big day.
Last year, I lost a ski in the inside triangle. This is the heaviest beating of my life, for sure. Not even close to anything I have experienced before.
I arrived late at night before the swell. I've never been here, and I was about to go surfing without even seeing the place from the lighthouse. I stayed on my own with Rodrigo, and I drove him into a couple of waves. You know, we had no safety. It was dangerous, and you know, I never even get to surf because on his last wave, we had the big accident.
Oh my God, what is he doing? Oh, Garrett, there's a ski down and there's a guy in the water. 2 guys down and the jet ski, and they need help.
And we lost the ski, we lost the board is completely gone. That's the only board we had.
Where are they? Where are they, Nicole?
They're getting sucked into the rocks.
Without a proper equipment, without any resources, and man, I end up paying the price pretty big, you know.
Quick, quick! Good eye, baby. They're okay. I got them.
I've never had a wipeout like that ever in my life. And it's definitely the strongest I've ever had. I had the next 2 days to stay in Nazaré, knowing that I came all the way, I spent money that I had never spent before to surf this big wave, and didn't even get the chance to surf it. But I had those 2 days to really understand more about Nazaré and the Portuguese people that make my short stay here so wonderful.
Being a Red Charger means a lot to me in terms of knowing there's people like Garrett McNamara that have put something that is for the rest of the people. And it's great that him and his wife Nicole are putting something for people like me and people who are not very known. That we've been doing this on a shoestring. Sometimes we miss the swells because we cannot make it, or we have no jet skis. So for me, the concept of Red Chargers, it's more about having faith again in a lot of people that are willing to make a difference for other people.
We woke up and we thought we had a small window. So we kind of rushed out to the lineup. We didn't really see from the cliff, and we could tell it was really big.
Perfect condition, big swell, perfect wind. And everybody's super excited about it because we trained so hard. We're just thinking about surfing the biggest waves of our life.
And then I went to team up with Carlos. Like, he wanted us to surf before he would surf because he thought it was going to be windy. So that was my first wave. I was almost breaking the surface, and the second wave broke on top of me with a very, very strong impact and blew off my life jacket, and that's when I went really deep. I was going into a hypoxic stage, and I didn't think I was going to come up from that one.
I couldn't find her, you know. I was looking after her for minutes, and I knew that she was needing help because I found her life jacket on the beach. I found her board, but I couldn't find her.
From there on, honestly, I don't remember how many waves I went down under. I remember seeing Carlos on the distance. I remember kind of, you know, his 2 attempts to get me, but from the moment I popped up from my second hold down, everything was a little bit of a blur.
On the first approach, I thought that she was doing all right, so I gave the sled right on top of her, but I didn't know that she didn't have any energy at that point.
And I was trying to cooperate, but you know, I was tripping, and I was high, and I didn't have oxygen. I had a broken leg, and I had no life jacket, so.
The only thing that I thought about doing that time was taking her out of that situation because we were so close to the rocks, and there were waves coming from everywhere, and so she grabbed the rope, and she got drowned after that because she didn't have any energy. So.
We obviously didn't have a lot of knowledge about this place. We didn't have a designated rescue ski. We didn't have a spotter on the lighthouse. We didn't have the rule of never going on the first one on the set. So, you know, we had to be way more organized and way more trained and prepared and in every way.
You know, and it was really hard for her to overcome all the surgeries, you know, all the injuries that she had. You know, it's been really tough for her mentally. Nothing would work out if she didn't have the passion too, you know, and she has the passion and she wanted to overcome the fact that she almost got killed here.
Okay, I got a question for everybody. You're putting somebody on a giant left in the corner there. I actually have no desire to surf the left there. I planned never to surf there. I just happened to get the world record wave there. I didn't even want to surf that day. He put me on it, and now everybody's surfing there. If you fall there, there's a high chance you're not going to do too well, and there's not a very good chance of the jet ski getting you because it's all foam, and the intervals are compressed, and the side chops are coming sideways.
Because it goes from being weird to being an emergency and the people being face down and completely unconscious like this. And from the cliff, you can barely see the person is there and then the person is not there.
I think it's almost impossible to know, watching from the cliff, what the surfer's going through, like whether they're drowning or injured. You know, that's, you know, unless the surfer's signaling, you know. Like,
I don't think I was conscious enough. I was going through so much, I wouldn't have had the response to do a signal. Because I was so in the zone that I wasn't going to be asking for help on the cliff.
Nicole didn't know if he needed help. She said, they're okay, they're okay, they're okay. And then at the last minute, she said, get in there. And it was already too late.
Two teams to work together. So if I have a team and I don't have an extra ski and you have a team and you don't have extra ski, we team up. I do the safe for a while and then your team do the safe for a while. And then what we need is a spotter and radio, and they can do it, you know.
First and foremost, you're responsible as a driver. You get to the shoulder, you watch. You put him on, you go full speed and watch. He falls, you know. You come right in, you get him. He kicks out, you're right there. There's no seconds wasted. You got him. The next wave right there, and you're out of there, no problem. The waves move so fast when you put him on the wave, half the time you can't get to the shoulder. And half the time you have to have that safety guy there. And if they fall on the left, 99% of the time, they're not going north. They're going straight to the rocks. And that foam is so thick, that is just a cauldron of almost not possible to navigate through and almost not possible to drive a ski in. Your partner's gonna be underwater and they're barely gonna pop up and you're not gonna be able to get them even if you did watch them. And then the next one's underhead. And Maya went through it. That is the worst place in the world to ever be. And if somebody goes through that, I don't like to say bad things, but I didn't see them really coming home.
If you don't have fear, how are you gonna face the risks in your life?
The fear makes us smarter, quicker.
Imagining your cell memories, you know, your DNA telling, what are you doing? What are you doing here? How can you almost die somewhere and go back to that place?
I think I'm able to control my mind when I'm out there, because if not, I'm putting everyone else at danger.
If you can use the fear in your favor, it can really bring the best out of us.
I'm so happy. It's a good day. Everyone charging. It's one really good one. Tow wave. Nice, big and steep. And tomorrow again.
My whole life, I never really surfed good waves in a place that it felt like home. So to have such a special wave in a place that I speak my language and I feel kind of near home is very unique to me.
At the end, I went back because I knew that I couldn't do anything else with her, you know. So that's the way I like to live my life, to the fullest.
Just to be there and to be able to experience it and being in the water and feeling the energy and seeing, you know, your friends and people around you like surfing the biggest waves in the world, and maybe you get, you know, the biggest wave of your life. Those days are memorable days.
Big wave surfing is my love, my passion, my work. It's everything that connects me with life.
I don't think I'm gonna quit ever in my life. Even if big wave means like 30 centimeters waves, I don't think I'll ever quit trying to push my limits.
When we see that forecast and it's red and we know there's gonna be action somewhere, and to be there, to be able to experience that, you know, I would never really remember Christmas or what I did and such birthday or this and that, but I remember all the big swells I've been around, so those days just mark your life.